Lucky Lefty Podcast, Anora Boys are in the building. We are brought to you by Anora Whiskey. That's AnoraWhiskey.com. And courtesy of Believe Network and our brand new partnership with FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com. Right at the start of the show, we're going to give you a couple of prop bets that you can play only at FanDuel.com. And don't forget, if you choose to drink, you have to make sure that you do it
responsibly.
Let's get it, Left. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, hit that thumbs up for us. It helps with the views. Then go to patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Lucky Legends players only. Starting up as soon as the season begins. The season preview will be up in a couple of weeks. Apple Podcast, Spotify, courtesy of Believe Network. Tap in with us on the audio side. Follow us on all socials. Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok at Lucky Lefty Pod. And go visit us at LuckyLeftyPod.com. Great news, stories, breakdowns on the quarterback situation, and recruiting news. And some merch. The merch shop is over at LuckyLeftyPod.com. Home of the misguided passion and forever committed to making sure that we spin it
different.
Yes, sir. Left, how's your day today, bruh?
The productive days, Friday, one of the better days. Just trying to stay on top, man. A lot of Notre Dame football. Football is starting pretty soon, and it's getting exciting.
Yeah, you know, I had boots on the ground in the den earlier today, and good weather, good times. But we're going to talk about what the people had to say today. What did the players and the coaches have to say today? We will hear from offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock. We will hear from quarterback coach Gino Guidugli. And then we will hear from both participants in this hotly contested quarterback battle, that being redshirt freshman CJ CARR and redshirt sophomore Kenny MINCHEY. We'll hear from both of those guys. But as I said before we get to that, brand new partnership with FanDuel. So go over to FanDuel right now, Left. You know, we have a Heisman hopeful on our roster, Left. And you would think that he would be top 5 over at FanDuel as far as the odds to win it. But he comes in at plus 4,000. That's a pretty good bet. Jeremiah Love at plus 4,000, you might want to grab him right now over at FanDuel. That's a darn good bet, Left. What do you think about that? For him to be that long of a shot, that much of a long shot right now, that's good value right there.
Yeah, great value, because you know it's only going to get better, especially as the team continues to get better, and then he's going to stay healthy throughout the season. When you have all these weapons and he doesn't have to maximize his effort every game, you're expecting a healthy season full of highlights.
Now, you ask, is there anybody else that Notre Dame has? Yes. What if I told you that there is a Notre Dame player that has greater odds on FanDuel to win the Heisman than Jeremiah Love, Left? What if I told you that? I already know you're about to throw a fit. Probably
if he plays defense. That's the only guy I can see.
That's the only guy you can see? Coming in at plus 3,100 is CJ CARR to win the Heisman. That just shows you the power of the positional quarterback at Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, they know what he's got. They know that whoever is in that position, and they really like CJ anyway.
Yeah, man.
They know that he's got nothing but space and opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. So that's 3,100 plus 3,100 for CJ CARR to win the Heisman, and plus $4,000 for Jeremiah Love to hoist the Heisman Trophy over at FanDuel. Go check it out, fanduel.com, or download the FanDuel app. Have fun. During the season, we'll be doing what? Lines, prop bets for each game. It should be fun. Great partnership we have going with FanDuel, courtesy of Believe Network. All right, Left. This is what I'm going to do, Left. All right, I'm going to see what reports are out here. For people, yes, I was at practice. I was at practice today. Yes, I was at practice. I was standing next to Trevor the entire practice, and that's that. But I'm going to go over to the IB practice report, and the defensive line was pretty focused. Max Bullocks and all the coaches were really teaching fundamentals today. They were harping on fundamentals. And according to the IB report, CJ CARR and Kenny Minchey both were sharp today during the 4 periods that were able to be seen over at IB. Running backs all look good. Scrap Richardson, you can tell he's much thicker this spring. And so the offensive line was the same for the first and second units as it was in the second practice. And the first practice. And then you have your guy, Sullivan Absher, right there, right guard, holding the fort down. And yes, you don't have to ask, left guard, they still have Will Black in that competition. This is over at IB message board. That's the practice report. But yeah, I was there to watch as well. Yeah. And it's pretty much Left.
Yeah.
Pretty much you see it's not much in 4 periods, bro. It's just,
right. They're really just warming up, doing some half speed drills. You're just getting into the meat of practice. So it's good to just see guys fly around. That's all you can really evaluate. Plus, at the end of the day, you like just seeing what the eye test shows you from a size standpoint. Guys are healthy. And early on in training camp, guys are really going through the basics. Hand off right, hand off left, a couple slants here, a couple go routes, basic coverages, nothing really other than like the process. This is the trust the process stage. And it's cool because you get to see the team slowly come together on chemistry. This is all chemistry, all the stuff they have from spending time together on and off the field and the periods down from practice. And that's where the magic's made. And the competition would get thick closer to when the season starts. So right now, what can you really do when you don't have full pads?
That's a good question. What can you do? There's nothing really to say about it, Left. I'm going to be honest. However, I will say this. I saw with my own eyes. It's some bigums on this squad, bro. And I'm not talking about the trenches, bro. It's Notre Dame has some big wide receivers, bro.
They do.
They have some big wide receivers. And Malachi is not the only one to speak of. There's some big wide receivers. Some whether or not they can be elite, bears watching, but man, I'm pretty happy, man, with just the visual. Just the visual, man. You can tell the difference when you got to Florida, right? Just the difference in like strength and conditioning, size of players, conversely to what you had in Notre Dame during your playing days.
Yeah, it's just an organization thing. You can just tell from how smooth things and operations are, how different programs can be. And Florida at that point didn't have the updated stuff they have now, but it's just a different world, still football, but it's just different everything. I mean, it's a crazy experience. I know it's probably crazy for these guys that transfer 3 or 4 times, where they're like every year something different. Like the guy Robbie Anderson, quarterback that's at I think Wake Forest now, but he started at Oregon, went to Auburn, went to South Carolina. So he kind of stayed in the South, which I'm telling you, from going from Notre Dame to another place, I understand the difference from going from like an Oklahoma State to a Notre Dame, but then going from Notre Dame to another place is just totally different, totally different. So cool experience, but nothing like home. I'll be on mute.
Let's go to the coordinators first, Left. Let's go to Mike Denbrock. But I promise you, in the second half of the show, I have a specific question for Left that I think everyone is going to find very interesting. But Mike Denbrock met with the media, second year as offensive coordinator. I thought the assembled media really did a good job, in my opinion, of locking in and asking some very intriguing questions. Um, Let me see if I can pull those up. I'm having a problem here. While I pull those up, Left, at what point does a new quarterback in fall camp begin to feel comfortable? As you said, they don't hit pads until practice 5. But at what point should these young men start to feel comfortable with everything that they're doing in fall camp?
I would just say it really just comes down to when they get a grasp on what they're comfortable with in the offense. Like their specific plays where they know, okay, I know my muscle memory, my timing,
Mm-hmm.
my cadence, and the execution of things. And that's more on an individual effort. Now, I believe it can only come through actually getting reps, not this whole, you know, taking mental reps, which is, I guess, a thing. But that's just focusing during practice. I think just taking the actual physical rep at the quarterback position is so important. So the more reps you get, that's where the comfortability starts. And all it takes is a couple of team practices where you get a quick flow of things. The only criticism I have of practices, especially in the competition thing, is there's moments and times in practice where you're hot. I mean, you got a flow, you're calling things right. When you're in a competition, you only got 4 plays. So you're like, golly, I got to, And so then it could throw off your momentum because you're like, I got to wait for it, go on forward, go switch units, this whole thing. So it's when you get that crisp time with the guys that you're in there with. For me, it really happened was when I'm getting my team reps, but I was with my guys that were in my class, so to speak. So I was with CJ and Torrey Hunter and Tarian and different guys that I felt comfortable with. So when our team practices, when we're going against the ones and we're the 2 offense or the 3 offense, and we're making plays here and there and getting first downs, you start to feel better because you're like, okay, I know that this is the best we got, and we're executing with guys that aren't considered necessarily starters. So as a quarterback, you start to build that confidence, and when you get your shot with the first unit, and you realize how much of a difference the first unit from the second unit is. It's a funny thing. Like, yeah, everybody's good and everything, but there's definitely a difference between your first unit and your second unit. It's just, you got guys that's been there, so that's a comfort that you have. And CJ's growth will be exponential because he's going straight into it. Kenny's getting that consistency feeling of being that guy and called upon and running out, even just running out there and just feeling like the first guy that day, how they rotate. But on your day, when you got the first team, you just feeling a little good. I mean,
Yeah.
hey. back up. Hey, my reps is my reps. So it's stuff like that you just got to personally find ways to get to that point where you're like, okay, this is when I'm in there, I got that control of everything. Like I'm setting the pace. So when you find your pace, when you're doing drives and team periods and even in the meeting room, it tends to go better for you. And then when you get them certain live periods towards the end of camp and you make a couple good drives, you do a good 2-minute here and there, you get a couple. So it's little moments like that really do something for you. So for both of these guys, they get the chance to get, I guess, 50-50 reps at the first team. But the more first team reps, the better. And stacking good days on top of each other is what matters. And then just the natural confidence of both these guys. It's a good thing that they both want to play and that their talent can help this team succeed. So it's not like one is supposed to be uprooted and the other is like, halfway decent. Both of these guys were excited about as a fan base, which is the good start. Usually wasn't excited about more than 2 guys on the roster. Even with the freshmen and stuff, I mean, these guys are huge. But it'll be great to see just a healthy push between both of those guys because regardless of who wins, that they've actually been in a competitive mindset to where now we're leading the team. They went from an internal battle. Now they're battling with the team, which I think is just a great combination. But all of this is only, in a sense, backed and only works when the staff is behind the guy. So all of this stuff is great right now. All of this competition is fun. Guys are getting better. But it's not until the staff put their stamp on the dude where that quarterback can be like, okay, I got my team. Because when you don't put the stamp on the dude as the head coach or the quarterback coach or the offense, and you got this tempo, how can you really feel confident? You just like, hey, you in there currently. What's that trend? Like, this is my current situation. Like, no, you gotta be like, no, I need that week 3 against NIU speech from Coach Freeman. Now that's my dog. I don't care if we lose or win. He gotta lose both legs before we put another guy in. I am not thinking about the other dude at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you like, okay, I'm good. But that's also when Riley got better. Because he like, what did he start saying after that? Yeah, I know I make mistakes. Psh, no big deal. I'm gonna get better in practice. Like, start admitting too much. Yeah, I'm having bad practices, whatever. But you're comfortable because okay, I can grow though. I know I can have a chance to bounce back, which is good and bad. But hopefully we have a better start point this time.
Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast. So once again, offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock met with the media today, and he started talking about his quarterbacks and talking about what he wants to see from them. One attribute in particular, he wants them as the young quarterbacks that are first-time starters or first-time starter candidates. He wants them to have the ability to bounce back through tough times.
Same things I think that Marcus addressed everybody with yesterday. I mean, how do they operate within the framework of the offensive scheme? Do they understand it? Do they know where their problems are? What can we do to help them? Making good decisions with the ball, being a consistent guy day in and day out that the teammates can count on to not only take care of the football but to make good decisions with it. And we'll make some strides as camp goes along. I mean, it's yesterday you guys got a chance to kind of watch practice. It was a little bumpy at times, but that'll happen sometimes, right? There's some feast and famine moments, especially early in camp, until you kind of get your feet back on the ground and underneath you. And they haven't had a whole lot of live snaps where they could kind of experience some failure. And it was fun yesterday, even though it wasn't fun to see the turnovers. It was fun to see how their response was, where the next play, I think in either either young man's situation, he bounces right back and makes an explosive play. So that's what you want to see, eliminate the turnovers, but have the ability and resiliency to be able to bounce back in tough situations.
Yeah, he's just referring to that freshman moment that, you know, when's the first time you realize you was in the NBA moments where and it's usually that first, what the you doing, you know, what you started over, that first good cuss out by you. Now, I don't know how the generation is now, you know, with the whole mental health and the mentalities of these players today, but you know, I always got more comfortable, ironically, after that first big cuss out after your mistake where they pause the practice and they talk for 5 minutes how you done messed up. And after you get over that and then do a good play in response, it's like, okay, boom, I'm locked in. You know, okay, I see the worst of it. You know, I've made the mistake, I've gotten chewed out or whatever, but I survived. And usually when you get those I survived moments, it's usually a good cuss out by Denbrock. Or I don't even know if Gino does it or not. He looks real chill, but Denbrock gonna say something to you. Or, you know, that first hit in practice where, you know, they get you one time. You know, they come off the edge, it's live and everything, but, you know, they really hit you because, you know, they trying to get a spot and everything. And you survive that. And you get up, you're like, oh, okay, that's what the first team hit feel like. Okay, yeah, okay, I'm locked in. Right? You're locked in. So I do think that there's moments that you have where Denbrock's right. They haven't had enough time to see it or to feel it. I mean, they've seen it, but it's been from the sideline. Now they get to see it in real life, and it's just an awesome thing for these guys to really first time. It's like what happens when you try to teach a baby to swim. You just throw him in the water. You don't know how he's going to react. So that first time feel of, oh, okay, he know how to do this. He surprised me on this. That's kind of where we are right now. We just got that first baby feel. Like, man, that's why they're infatuated with what they can do. It's the first time we've seen it on a stage where it mattered. So Gino's like, yeah, he know with the best of them. Now, when we get past the first romance and the first fresh feels, and you're like, all right, we need to clean this up. We need to do this. Now you're in it. Now you being coached. Now you in the running. You feel like the man. You feel like the quarterback. They're communicating with you. I know Kenny is probably an exciting feeling because in the last 2 years they weren't with me. They're not talking to you. They're not really asking your opinion in the quarterback room. You know, they're not. Usually it's like that first time with these are moments now. I'm just talking about moments. You're in the quarterback meeting room and it's a new year. You know you in the running. So you looking at it like, okay. And Coach Gaduli go like, okay, Kenny, what you think? First question get thrown to you. That's a good feeling. You know, he's like, yeah, what do I think? You know, I've been wanting to answer for a couple years now. Because usually, you know, they asking Sam and Steve and Tyler Buckner say something and you just gotta take notes. You know, that's just the beginning of it. And then that first meeting, all the hype, all the who's gonna start, is a Kenny, is a C, and you get in that first meeting, and Gaduli's like, okay, Kenny, first team, we running this. What you got? You're like, finally, you know, I ain't right no more. I get to command the room a little bit, and this is all first time experience for both of these guys. So the excitement, the eagerness, now it just comes down to who has the better routine. Who is taking the proper things to get better is less of doing what is expected, is more of doing what actually can hold you in that spot. You know, yeah, you gotta watch film, but how are you watching film to help you get better? Because now it matters. One thing to be competing in the room now when you out there playing and they talking about you on TV. They're evaluating how you play. So it's bigger than you watching practice clips. I gotta really lock in on my preparation for the opponent. Now it's less about, you know, your everyday trying to have the highest completion percentage in 7-on-7. Now it's okay, I got this corner is supposed to go to the league next year. What's his tendencies and who's the defensive coordinator? And so both of these guys have to start thinking like that. Before it was okay, Steve gonna tell us what to do. We're gonna follow these little drills. I'm gonna take my couple reps. I'm gonna go to study hall. Shoot, no. You need to know down a distance. You need to talk to Denver. Hey, Denver, I'm knocking on your door for something for real this time. Like for real. Okay, I really need you to help me figure this out because I'm on deck. So nothing's better than that on deck feeling, is what I'm saying. Both of these guys just want to take on as much information. They a bunch of, yes, I'm on there. I'm on there. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm whatever I need to do. And because of that, then you start to see the team get a little more excited, right? The team's getting more excited about these guys figuring itself out. So that's the encouraging thing, which I think will have a faster launch than last year because the team is rallying around and supporting this quarterback competition. It's a healthy one.
All right. Let's get to Mike Denbrock talking about the difference between his relationship with these youngsters and Riley Leonard last year. Of course, Riley Leonard didn't play during the spring, so there was definitely a development of coming to understand what would work for Riley and what Riley understood conceptually during the season. You want that to take place before the season, but it had to take place during the season. And Mike Denbrock talked about the difference between his relationship with the starting quarterback last year and his relationship with his
I think it was a different situation with Riley, obviously, because he wasn't able to go through spring football, and then was a little bit limited early in fall camp and in the summer. It was a lot harder for me to maybe get a better feel for him than I wanted to have headed into fall camp so that those things could maybe be done ahead of time. The two combatants for the quarterback job this year are guys that have been here in the program. I think I've got a little bit better feel for not only how they think, but their strengths as players. And we're ready for whatever the scenario ends up ultimately being to tailor what we do to what the.
Well, he's basically saying the playbook is big enough to cater to the strengths regardless of who comes out on top, which is a lot more encouraging than last year where we had to cater it to the point where it was just so 1 year useful. that's a tape that you just lock up. It's like I doubt we ever come back to it to really get anything from it other than like the cool moments in which we won games. But I think Denbrock's just excited to have two guys that are very competent, man. I mean, he's just probably trying to slow down in his mind what he can give these guys to feel comfortable with, because I'm sure he's thinking so many different ideas with both of them. And he's like, man, the good thing is I can fit both of these guys and maximize what they do. So, of course, when you're getting guys worked in and warming up these guys to like be in live action, the timing is a lot different. You get all these cute videos of y'all throwing on the air and working out and all of that. Yeah, them reps is a lot different when you're going against first team, when you in there taking all the reps, you lead in the team periods, even the cadence, even just getting your down set hike consistent, where everybody is getting off on the same, because you're gonna have some of that. They're not used to saying it all practice. They used to, down set hike, it don't matter. Now they better be for the 80,000. And I'm glad we're not doing this whole, I don't know if we're doing the clap thing. I think that's just so disrespectful. But Denbrock's right, man. I think Denbrock is just more open to letting this thing hang. You know, he's gonna say it's gonna be ugly, but it's gotta be because we gotta get this ball out of our hands. Because he's probably saying we can always just turn around and hand it off. I think he's hitting this year early with going and being aggressive, throwing the football early. We can get in 12, get under the center, we can turn around and hand that thing off all day. All day. We're going to practice it, but how about we just start camp early with these routes? I like that. As long as our fallback plan is, well, we got Jeremiah Fry. I mean, you know, he got all these guys, whatever. I'm excited to see that. But I'm really excited to see these receivers take the next step. Denbrock take the next step. The quarterbacks come into their role. I mean, it's going to be a beautiful sight.
Speaking of that guy who is at plus 4,000 over at FanDuel to win the Heisman Trophy, he was asked about Jeremiah Love and the usage, but he was asked in a way whether or not he had watched Reggie Bush and whether or not he would use Jeremiah Love in a similar fashion for the Fighting Irish. This is what Mike Denbrock had to say.
I think we have to be in a position to take advantage of his skill set. And his skill set is wide-ranging, right? Certainly he's a very talented runner with the football in his hands, but there's really nothing he can't do on a football field, from running down as a gunner on the punt team and making a play to throwing him a deep ball, some sort of option route, anything that we can do to kind of screen package, whatever that is, to try to get the ball to him a little bit more. I think it opens up a really large opportunity for us to kind of expand what we were a year ago and give some people some problems.
Yeah, I mean, this is the bigger the playbook, the better the calls. I mean, Denbrock's like, we about to put him all over the place. And this is the balance Denbrock has to have with an inexperienced quarterback. Just throwing Jeremiah Love all over the place sounds great, but can we get him that ball that many different ways? Mm-hmm. So this is where Denbrock's creativity and his Todd Monken, in terms of having all the pieces, his creativity has to come into play where Jeremiah Love has to be effective, because we know Denbrock can get in his ways where he's like, yeah, we're going to use Jeremiah Love, 28 dive, 28 dive, 28 dive, 28 dive. Oh, he did it versus Army, where you're like, oh, okay, he just going to just run him into the ground. Like, so I would like to see Denbrock take that next step of putting him out in the slot and put him on different creative plays to get him the football and some different screens and helping the quarterback play a lot easier by using Jeremiah Love. And so as easy as it sounds, it is a challenge going from how simple and basic and monotonous we were last year, which was good, to transforming it into what we want to and making that good. Because we know we can be good relying on just who we got. Oh, we got Riley. We're just going to run him on third down every time. We're not going to complicate this. You've been doing that for a whole year. Mm-hmm. Now you got to get out of that mode, because it would be a shame, a detriment, almost fireable, if we just start abusing one player. Like if one guy, as Kyron Williams, carries every game. Because now what we recruiting all that for? You know what I mean? We need to relax on the recruiting. I mean, because we're bringing in guys that deserve the football, guys that have been waiting. I mean, we getting to a point where guys are just on the roster, because we're getting so excited about all these guys coming in. And shoot, Micah Gilbert still on the roster somewhere, KK Smith on there somewhere, Keedron Young's on there somewhere. Because by the next year, it's just going – you want to see these Larry Fitzgerald son, So the usage has to be – I mean, we got to be throwing that thing around. I mean, it just is what it is. The guys are going to leave. Like, it's just – you can't have everything now. We ain't got recruiting real sweet. Everybody gave the offense a break. right? They gave us a break. Oh, you guys got Riley. I need to come back and see what this looks like. Okay, y'all good. I'm interested. But the offense ain't a lot of things to be desired. So now we don't have that. Now it's like, okay, time to show me what's up. What we got. What because now I gotta think like I'm Carnell Tate. Well, who you putting in the league at receiver? Now I'm back on that. Yeah, y'all winning games, but who y'all putting in the league at receiver? Like who's having 1,000-yard seasons? Who's, so that's what we have to prove now, because now we're capable. There is no excuse of, well, you got a guy that's more running style, no. Yards got to be accumulated. Now, we know Denbrock got ways of doing it. He loved them screens. He loved to take them shots downfield. CJ's proven really well with that. Kenny's got the versatility he likes with the quarterback run and quarterbacks holding the ball, right? His offense holding the ball because he trying to throw that thing 50, 60 down the field. Put on the show. We got to be entertaining. This is a perfect place for the offense to take over the mantle as the lead unit on the team. Defense been holding it down top 5 for how many years? How many years has the defense been top 5 and we not cashed out on a championship when we love to say defense wins championships? Well, if we go by resume alone, we've been top 5 in defense for a good amount of time. And it's been clear. It ain't the defense. It's clear that we need that offense to take over the mantle. What did Ohio State do? They had good defensive players. They did. But they really had them offensive guys. Which, in our game, when we literally, in my opinion, got the 2 best teams you can get, our biggest weakness was their biggest strength. Offense. They got the scoring ability with the talent that can equal out our defense and expose us for what? A team that don't got a high engine on offense. We like to slow cook you. Oh, y'all playing around because y'all can't score? Okay, we just gonna score and score and score, wear you down. Now we don't score about 50 points on you. We done had 6 takeaways and you ain't got a first down since the 3rd quarter. You know what I mean? So I do think that it's going to be great for us to see Denbrock really shine, man. You got paid a lot of money now to come back. And rightfully so. You left at the perfect time. You don't got a Heisman and 2 first-round receivers. They got to pay you whatever you want. Because that's how you got to come back to Notre Dame. You can't just rise up the ranks as no coordinator and be no. Go out and do something amazing and come back, and you're gonna be whatever you want. Write that check for yourself. So I think he's excited about that and looking to be a different team to see next year.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. I think Mike Denbrock is in a place where he's actually happy. You want to coach. And I think he is coaching on offense rather than being a coach on defense last year. Like not being aggressive like he wants to be aggressive. Because of certain factors were outside of his control, injuries outside of his control, having a new guy that he doesn't have a relationship with. As he said when he was asked about the media, this is different. I've known these guys for 2 years. They've been with me. I know them. I know what they like. I know what they don't like. I know what plays they like to run. I know the throws they like to throw. I know how to set those up. It's totally different than when he had to go through with Riley Leonard. And I hear people say it all the time, Left. Like, man, I don't think Mike Denbrock gets enough criticism. And I'm like, man, you can criticize him all you want to. You could talk about the offensive numbers. The man got to the national championship game.
Now what?
He got to the national championship game.
And that's the thing too, is that he got to the national championship game being a guy that didn't lose the game. Keep us close. Don't do nothing too crazy. Don't be who you are. Now it's like, okay, be who you are, because that's going to get us to win the game. We can get to the game with him being passive, him keeping a close lead, him not putting the ball in jeopardy, him calling plays that can kill the clock a little bit, because our time possession was crazy last year. Now he goes to flip the switch, just like I talk about these quarterbacks that have a fantastic first year when they're not expected to win it all. They have a fantastic year when they're expected to just don't lose the game. Just don't lose it. You go crazy. We've seen it many times. It's not until that switch gets flipped where they're like, okay, you better than don't lose it for us. Now it's like, we need you to win it for us. It's a totally different mindset. Now the expectation is, okay, it's 3rd and 8. If I don't get this first down, our defense is going to give up that touchdown. If I don't get this first down, we it's going to mess us up, right? So as opposed to when you're in the mindset of, okay, don't lose the game, 3rd and 8, I'm thinking check down, I'm good.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. But I think for me, I'm very excited to see this team really take a step forward in mentality, right? I think a lot of people try to blame the offense on Marcus Freeman. Look, as a head coach, let me ask you a question, because everybody has these big expectations and aspirations for Notre Dame's offense and quarterback and the passing game. Let me ask you a question. After the passing game looked the way it looked in the first 2 games against Texas A&M and Northern Illinois, as a head coach, what was Marcus Freeman supposed to do other than lean on the offensive line in the run game? Let me know in the chat. If you have a better idea after those first 2 games and being 1-on-1, 1-1 on the season, and the output from the passing game, quarterback, offensive line, and wide receivers, what did you expect Marcus Freeman to do? Would you have done something different? Did you have a scheme in your back pocket that you could have emailed to him or DM'd him to say this is what you need to use to unlock the passing game? Let's be honest. What would you have done in his situation? What would you have done? Would you have leaned into what your team could do at a high level? Or would you continue to bang your head against the wall trying to figure out how to unlock this fantasy of a passing game that we've all been waiting for to materialize since 2008, 2009, or at some point during the 2015 season? And that's fine. Start Angeli. But with that offensive line, does Angeli make the plays to get out of trouble in certain situations that Riley Leonard make? Because in order to start Angeli, you're giving up something that was of great need with how poorly that offensive line, particularly the left side, was playing the first half of the season. He stuck it out. And how can you argue with him sticking it out with Riley Leonard when they made it to the national championship game? Now, dude, I was calling for Angeli.
Great sacrifice.
I was calling for Angeli before the season started. But at this point, how can we argue? And if we're going to use, if that's the case that we're going to use to say, well, maybe Marcus Freeman just doesn't want to throw the ball, The Bulls are literally or have literally been one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBA the last 3 seasons, left. One of the worst.
Analytics for you because they've taken more threes lately.
But they can't, you can take them, but if you don't make them, it doesn't mean anything.
But they're forced to take them.
And see, that's the Steph Curry effect.
Right.
And I think that is the Ohio State effect or the Oregon effect or the Ohio State effect on Notre Dame fans. We see these other elite programs and the way they're doing it. And we say to ourselves, man, we want to do it like that. Well, guess what? Nick Saban, his first championship, did it the way Notre Dame did it last year. He did it with a quarterback and a passing game that was mediocre and a strong run game and great defense. That's how he won his first national championship at Alabama. And then he recruited and got better quarterbacks. And once he got better quarterbacks and more talented wide receivers, guess what happened to the passing game? It took off.
Well, he fell on some quarterbacks that really had. Well, he really got that 5-star quarterback.
Yes. Yes. So my point, Left, is it's amazing how smart coaches become when they get talented players. It's amazing how coaches want to open up the offense when they get 4- and 5-star receivers and really good quarterbacks that can throw the ball. It's amazing. And how balanced.
It's amazing how your whole regard for you, the whole regard.
It's amazing. So we need to just kind of, those that are in that mindset or have that mindset, just relax a little bit. Relax a little bit. Yeah, I would say something else, dude. The quarterback that's going to take the field against Miami is not going to be the quarterback that gets drafted. And what I mean by that is they'll be better next year. Whomever the start is, they'll be better next year. And then they'll be better the year after that if they decide to stay.
If they decide to stay, yeah.
Yes. I see people, I'm just going to use CJ CARR, for example. People are like, oh my God, CJ CARR is going to be the next player to get drafted at quarterback for Notre Dame. He has first-round talent, second-round talent. You're not going to see that first and second-round talent on full display against Miami. You're going to see a young man learning.
Yeah.
Can he still be good? Yes.
Yeah, he'll be good.
But is he going to be that finished product that he's going to become? No, he's not.
People got to understand and be comfortable in a game where you don't even know what it's like. As much as you practice and have been there at the lower levels, playing in a game for the first couple of times, it's a straight learning process because all that stuff that you was practicing and thought you was learning, even hearing the play call, hearing it in the game, it just sounds different. But that's because you've never done it when it's been on you to do it. Yeah, you can. Fourth quarter, we whooping everybody, but yeah, go get you a couple of yards. Yeah. But when they play that Irish, and you run out and you do the little prayer, you do the little take a knee, and then you do the little coin toss, and you're warming up, and it gets real, and they kick it off, and they're like TV timeout, and you get your huddle, and you like, oh. Yeah, it's ready to play. So, no, I'm not expecting them to go 500 yards the first game, and they just, it's going to be a good game. We're going to have moments where we like, dang, I wish he could have did this better, whatever, but I did see hope. He had a couple bombs and didn't turn it over. And, you want to look up a year from now and say, okay, that's what we got. Not right now. Because let them do it. We evaluate after they do it. Y'all trying to say before they do it, oh, they've been. We don't know. We know that they're gonna be a good team. We know that they got a lot of support. Like Michael Jordan and the 6 rings always had support, but this is not a LeBron and Cleveland situation where he has Boobie Gibson and Drunas Ilgauskas and Drew Gooden and has to go against 4 Hall of Famers in the finals. It's not one of those situations.
Are you gonna bring up the HGH and the steroids too?
Oh, look. Oh wow.
Lucky Lefty podcast.
Boy.
So when we come back,
All right, Jeff T.
I'm going to ask. Yeah, he snitched for real. I'm going to ask Lef a very important question on the heels of the discussion we just had about the first-time starter and the development and who they will become in another year or so. Right here, Believe Network, FanDuel partnership, Lucky Lefty podcast, SD2 Mics, Malik Zaire. We'll be right back. You know we spin it different.
What's up, family? We're back here once again, the Lucky Lefty Network shop. We've updated it to all your favorite gears from the Freeman era to the signature logo, Lucky Lefty. We do it the best and we spin it different. This time we're coming way different. We got accessories, mugs, women apparel, hoodies, shirts, anything you want, anything you can ask for. Because you know one thing, we spin it different.
Break it down, bag it up, break it up, break it up, bag it up, bag it up, break it up, break it up, bag it up, bag it up. I tell my break it down.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Help us out. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up, that like button. Because you know you like us. We're both lovable. We're handsome. We're chocolate. You know what I mean? That's what you need in your life. Some good, sound Notre Dame wisdom and knowledge and fun. Talking Notre Dame football. And don't forget, the chef over there. The podcast chef himself, the original Lucky Lefty, Malik Zaire. No one weaves in culinary, cuisine talk into football in Notre Dame like Lefty himself. So subscribe, hit the like button, leave your comments, questions. We respond to all. TikTok, Twitter X, Instagram at Lucky Lefty Pod in partnership with Believe Network and FanDuel. Speaking of FanDuel, Left, you know, you can go over right now. We talked about the Heisman, right? CJ CARR 3,100 plus 3,100 plus 4,000. Now, here's one thing you would love to know. The greatest odds at plus 380 to win all their regular season games, to go undefeated. The team that has the best odds to go undefeated is none other than the Fighting Irish and Notre Dame at plus 380 over at FanDuel.
Easily.
Can't beat that with a bat. And the over-under on win totals for the Fighting Irish on FanDuel sits right at 10.5. Sits right at 10.5. So, hey, man, get in early. We already gave you the great value at plus 4,000 for Jeremiah Love to win the Heisman. 10.5. Notre Dame has hit the over on win totals every year that Marcus Freeman has been the head coach. So go ahead. And Freeman, we trust. Hit that over. 10.5. Notre Dame will come in for you. They have the best odds at 380 to go undefeated in the regular season. And that's over at FanDuel. Speaking of Believe Network, tap in on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Audio side of the podcast on Believe Network, patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Lucky Legends podcast, players only podcast coming back during the season. The season preview will be up in a couple of weeks. So, Left, we were talking about relaxing and allowing the starter to get his feet under him. I hope you can remember this, Left, before we get to quarterback coach Gino Gaduli next. You come out against Texas, Left, your first start in Notre Dame Stadium. Before I get to my main question, that tunnel entrance had to feel different. Like knowing you are the guy. Because normally you at the back of the line, right? You know, normally at the back of the line, you run out, and you kind of filter out the tunnel after everybody else has led the way. But this time, it's your team. What was that like, my friend?
Well, it was just exciting, man. It was a long time coming, and a lot I wanted to prove and show the value that I can add to the team and proving myself right and really locking in on your job is it's the real deal. So you got that in the back of your mind that you're doing this for real. You go through a lot of training, a lot of practices, but 13, 14 days of the year to perform on a huge stage that people will remember for a lifetime, man. You're just super grateful and excited to have an impact in that way. And so after that first play, and I can really say, man, being the most prepared really helps. Like I knew everything. I knew everything to the point where it was like I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, they always say practice makes perfect, and you gotta prep and all this stuff. And I've watched film and prep so much. You're so nervous for your first game when this is for real. You're Notre Dame's quarterback. It's not real until you actually are the starter. Everything else is like, yeah, I'm on the team, yeah, whatever. But when you're the actual starter, you just like, oh no, this is Joe Montana play here. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a whole feeling. So I'm over here over studying. But that first drive, I saw a couple looks I saw on film, and it's crazy that the film really is the real life. Like you would think, I'll be like, man, y'all stop playing. Like I know y'all about to run this, and y'all really about to run. Y'all really about to run. I couldn't believe it. So then I just start thinking like I'm seeing the routes before the plays. Like, I'm about to go deep, and that's where you got to trust what you see and seeing what you see on film, where it's like not even. You realize totally different feeling because now I have to do this play. Like, don't turn the wrong way. Shit, like I got Corey 1-on-1, but do I? This is Treadwell. This dude is going. This dude's supposed to be number one corner. And it's like, golly, do I just throw it to Corey? Like Corey, my boy now. Like, but this is a real game. I don't want him to just drop it. So you just start thinking of silly stuff. Because you're so focused on like, okay, I'm going to get pulled out at some point. When you know you're the guy and you're not getting pulled out, you're like, oh, okay, let me lock in. Like you can start thinking about the next drive when you're coming off the field because you're like, okay, I'm not going to get subbed out. And so you just play better and the team plays better. So I think the faster a guy can get to that, and that just comes from the staff. Like I said, the staff got to be like, you're a dude. When you walk down the hallway, they be like, what's up, guy? You just got to get that feeling. You got to tell me I'm the guy. Outside of you knowing it yourself, you got to get, as a quarterback, you got to get told that. You got to like, hey, here are the keys. You running it. It's the ego thing. Or maybe it's just the fact of like, there's nothing wrong with job security. I think nowadays when you have all this money on the line, don't play with your food like that. If you want a quarterback, if you so start a guy, just pick him and be like, look, this is my choice. I got too much money to be playing around, So that's the ideal situation.
So as we head into the second hour of Lucky Lefty podcast, brought to you in sponsorship with FanDuel and on Believe Network, we want to go to quarterback coach Gino Gaduli. Because I have one more follow-up, but I want you to hear Gino first. Because all the buzz after practice one was about the 4 interceptions from the quarterbacks, 1 from Kenny Minchey and 3 from CJ CARR in various forms. Can you blame them directly? Was it a byproduct of drops? Was it a byproduct of something else? Was it really good plays by Tay Johnson and Adon Schuler? Well, Gino Gaduli said, man, I really don't give a darn about the interceptions. I don't give a darn.
Yeah, like everybody's talking about the turnovers. I don't really sweat those. Like practice is a time to make mistakes, and we got to figure out in practice what we can and what we can't do. Now, when you're in a quarterback competition, you got to make as many good throws and eliminate as many mistakes as possible. But those guys are also trying to figure out what they can and can't do. We don't want to wait until we go down the hard rock to figure that out. So as long as those guys are responding appropriately when things don't go well, like that's part of the game, and that's an important part of playing the position is when things don't go right, how are you going to respond? Because the whole team is waiting to see your response.
One thing we don't see is what goes into the preparation for practice. Can you give us some insight in terms of how you are kind of leading this competition?
Sure. You're just saying from the player's perspective?
Just preparing, getting the team ready to go and going out.
Sure. So like every day we're going to have offensive install that goes in that our guys are required to know. Some of it is new. Some of it is stuff that they've been doing for 2 years now in the system. They're going to be responsible for knowing the defensive install every single day. So we're not going to go out to practice and not know what the defense is installing. So as a quarterback room, we're going to go through the defensive install as well. We're going to go through the script for that day. They'll do that the night before, come in with any questions they have. And after that, it's come out, practice, and then go back in right after practice, review the practice, clean up any mistakes, talk about the things that we did well, and then it's on to the next install, on to the next defense to install, and those days just keep piling up.
Yeah, you see, but that's the contradiction. He says, yeah, I don't give a darn about the mistakes in practice. It's practice. Yeah, that's easy for you, coach, because then the next thing out your mouth is, well, unless you're in a quarterback competition, so you can't really. Yeah, so you can see that it's hard to prepare in a quarterback competition. I don't know if he totaled himself, but yeah, it's clear way of thinking is, yeah, you're going to make mistakes in practice. That's the point. So it's contradictory that you needing to go through that is being evaluated. It's like, what? Like, no, that's counterproductive, and it takes away from preparation. That's why last year I was so adamant about it, because you had 3 guys doing that. At least it's 2 this year, but still a detriment because, like Gino said, you're doing 2 different things at once. You're trying to play it safe, but take risks unnecessarily at times because you're in a competition. So in a competition, you're not thinking always the technical thing to do or the right thing to do. So it's hard to be consistent when you hearing from your head coach, they're going to decide who it is. And then you hear from Gino, yeah, mistakes happen. I don't give a darn. But we're grading them because we have to like so you can tell that that's stressful for a quarterback in their perspective. But at the same time, I do believe that stress is you need some of that. You need to be able to adjust on the fly in circumstances where nobody's telling you what to do. You have to lead that part of the mission. And so that's where you get to see the differences in guys' leaderships and how they respond to adversity. So some guys get really laxed and take the approach of it's just mistakes, and that can carry over into games where you just turning the ball over because it's whatever. So that's a thin line you tote because, yeah, you're practicing, but you don't want to practice bad habits either. So how comfortable do you really get with throwing picks in practice, which is, that fine line? Because I just thought of it as black and white. Turning the ball over is just bad. It would always be my fault. Turning the ball over is not any way, shape, or form not good. So I just kept it at that. So that's why even I wasn't willy-nilly with the football, So, but he is he is right. You know, these guys got to stack days, and consistency matters, but it's the intangibles. You know, who are you giving the confidence to every day? You know, the routine is the routine, because unfortunately it's just a scheduling thing. You can only have so many hours. You can only do so much. So yeah, you're gonna go to practice, watch film, go back, watch film, do practice. But really determine who your starting quarterback is who you have the most faith in, and then who you're investing in. Because talent is, so what? You got to go win a game. Winning a game is about strategy. Winning a game is about putting your players in the best position. So conversely, having a competition, you're avoiding doing that because you're just trying to see who what. Like, I don't know. Our philosophy on the quarterback competition is crazy when you're trying to win games. So, yeah.
19 for 22, 313 yards and 3 touchdowns, my man. That's the way to announce yourself as the quarterback of Notre Dame against a national power like Texas. But on the heels of what Gino said, not caring about the mistakes, I want to go to the next week. Because the next week, specifically early on, things were a little bit different. Before the injury, you were 7 of 18 for 115 and 1 touchdown. Now, you had begun to heat up. In your last 6 passes, you were 4 of 6 with a touchdown. But this is my question to you that I think one of these quarterbacks is going to face going from the first game to that second game against Texas A&M. What happened, Lef? Like what happened? Like, you come off from 19 to 22 with 313 with a touchdown. You come out early. Everybody expects you guys to come out and be just as explosive early. What was it?
I mean, we were still very reserved in our play calling. So, like, second game, airmailed the first one. We started running the ball a lot, and then hit one low, and it was just a rhythm thing. It was like it was a different rhythm than last game because it was more of like we were on script. We had a lot of running things in there, so it was like, okay, we run, throw, but I'm doing all the running, so it was like, okay, I was a little tired, but then we had like a batted touchdown that would have went to Will. Couple mismatches here and there, but then it was like, okay, we're back in rhythm. We threw a bomb. I had a couple big runs. I mean, we was about to heat up. So it was really things were, in my mind at the time, it wasn't nothing that we couldn't handle. And we was really about to get on them. You know, we was driving. I missed a couple reads on the option. We had a couple drops. I airmailed a couple throws. Slow. But then CJ started heating up with the runs. And then, we were really about to really put it on them. And then I had the big run, and then we came right back, and then we had the RPO, and I'm just feeling good off of the run. Should have threw it, but I could beat him off the edge and then get hurt. So it's like so much untapped and unexperienced stuff that we had to get off our chest that we just didn't get a chance to. But I didn't think anything different was in that game. Watching the thing back there, like, yeah, this is slow. It was a little different. But the game before that, it was a great flow. We had, because sometimes, and I realized as a coordinator, sometimes when you call on plays, it's like, man, there's nothing the other team can do. It's just they're thinking how I'm thinking. He knows where to go with it. This game, it was like we just wouldn't throw. I'm like, why are we not trying to throw it more on this team? We just waiting the third down to throw. So I just thought the reserve strategy threw off our rhythm, threw off my rhythm. And then, I felt like Steph Curry had a point. You see a couple go in. Couple passes happen, you're like, okay, we good. And then, but that's where finding ways to win matter for both of these quarterbacks in camp. You got to find ways like, okay, you may throw a pick or something may not that you are good at isn't working. Well, you better start running around. You better start finding a different way to make a play. And I think that was what I was figuring out in that second game, which we started to have moments and then spots, and then we started to really even out. But that's just what you get when you're playing the game. You don't get that in practice. You don't get that in no shirts and shorts or Irish invasion or recruiting. You only get that in the game. So both of these guys, unfortunately, are going to go through that. Whether they have a really good first game or not, they're going to go through it. But how they bounce back is that trend of, okay, this is a guy that we like, or this is a guy that can't meet the moment. Because everybody can be great one time, but the people that are great can do it again and again and again.
Well, I just want you to know that I think your example of what happened, minus the injury, is what people can expect, right? Because things are going to flow for these young men, whoever starts. They're going to have games where everything just flows. And then they're going to have games where it just seems like the rhythm is off. Like, I don't, like, what's going on, right? Which kind of goes to what Mike Denbrock says. How do you respond? You know, you were getting ready to respond.
You got to get the team back, whether you have to make the right pass or the big completion or the right check. Because it's not always you doing it physically. Sometimes you just got to shift the team in the right lane. But the team responds to that. It's crazy when you're the quarterback and how you may not even throw it. You may just change the play to hand it off the other way. And the team responds to that. They're like, oh, good stuff. Oh, okay, I saw the same thing. Now you connected. And it's not just because sometimes Denbrock may go on a dry spell where you're like, dang, you running the 24 dive 6 times in the what are you trying to like? What you doing? You know, I like to jump on the phone. Hey, what's up? Like I lost you out there. You just calling whatever. Like what like, what you seeing? No, that's what you gotta hit him with. What you seeing? Because you can't be like, what you seeing up there, coach? I saw this or that. So a lot of it is the quarterback has got to put the team back on track. And that is unpredictable. That's what makes football great. That's what makes live sports great, is because when it's live, you can't necessarily prepare on how you're going to do it when it happens. You can prep situationally. Oh, if A then B and B then C, but sometimes Z come out of nowhere.
Facts.
And you gotta be like, you don't say, it's not going to say. You gotta something within your own preparation, your own ability, your own clutch gene. Because everybody's looking at you. They're gonna be like, shoot, if you don't do it, shoot, Usually if the quarterback don't do it, and that's what I'm saying, it don't gotta be a pass. It's just them getting the team in the right lane, whether it's making a check, stopping the blitz, getting a good first down on the third, running for the first on 4th and 1 instead of running out of bounds. It's the little things.
Yeah.
But that matters. So I think that's the beautiful thing, and why Marcus Freeman is probably not quick to pull the trigger on just naming the guy, because you probably just want to kind of see like who really want it, who really trying to take this thing over. Because Marcus Freeman's fallback plan is I can't lose. I got 2 capable dudes. 2 capable. It's just who am I going to treat as the diva and the stepchild? That's really what it is. Because somebody gonna get treated like the step. It's just gonna happen. You because you in the competition now and everybody on your side. Oh yeah, good throw. Yeah. But when it gets decided, you might as well fade to black. Just go ahead, start supporting your dude. Stay in shape. Be quiet. And because the team, they're gonna be like, man, back up. And that's what sucks. That's like the purgatory for any quarterback competition. Any guy that's like trying to get that starting spot on the verge where you about to capture the hearts and the soul of the team, where they about to start calling you captain, you like, but if you QB2, you just, what's up, Malik? QB1 always get the tag. QB1, What's up, QB1 starter? What's up, dude? What's up, my boy? QB2, it's just like, what's up, Malik? Yeah, what's up, dog? You going to
Oh
lunch?
man.
No, for real, but it's not no disrespect. It's just what happened. So that's why it means so much to name the guy. Because you got to know the pecking order. You got to know who is the top dog in the room. And it's all subjective. That's why you got to tell us. It's an ego thing. You got to, because subjectively, who knows who's better than who. But whatever it giggles, you got to feed my ego. Tell me I'm the dude so I can walk around here and they got to be like, yeah, what's up?
Coach Gino was asked about the competition, and this is what he had to say about his quarterbacks.
We're going to let these guys work for the body of training camp. I mean, we've got 4 weeks or so to the first game. We want to put those guys in as many situations as possible with neither one of them have starting experience and try to get as many game-like reps as we can and see how the guys respond and see how the team responds to them.
What are each of their strengths?
I think their strengths are very similar. Both the guys are really good in terms of their routine and their preparation. Both got really high football IQs. It means a lot to both of them. Both of them have a lot of arm talent. CJ's probably a little bit more vocal than Kenny is. Kenny's probably a little bit more athletic than CJ is. But all in all, like, we got 2 really good quarterbacks that are going to compete their butt off. And at the end of the day, when we do got to name one, that guy's going to be better because of this competition, and we're going to be a better team because of the competition.
I already see how this is going to play out. Let me
That last part.
We're gonna make the prophecy today on August 1st.
Okay, let me timestamp it.
This is what's gonna happen.
August 1st,
I already see it.
52 Central Time.
This is how it's gonna play out. They're gonna take too long because they're gonna be too plain Jane about it. They're gonna play both quarterbacks in the first game, possibly the first 3 games, because unfortunately neither one of them has starting experience. So that's usually the easy go-to of who's going to run out there. Like the Joe Flacco at the Browns situation. At the end of the day, as crazy as it may be, Joe Flacco's going to start. Like, they're not – this is a business. As much as they love Shador, they're not going to start.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because they're not like that, it's going to be really tough to just throw one out there. So they're going to play both guys. And it's going to come down to, can CJ take the moment from Kenny, because Kenny's going to go out there first. And if Kenny wavers at all, can CJ make the moment that people remember and then be like, oh, he should start? If not, they're going to play both. And I think Kenny will overtake if it lasts too long.
Okay. That was 8:52 p.m. Central Time on August 1st. Leftradamus with the prediction. Mark it down, ladies and gents. I don't know if I can say I see it the same. Yeah, I don't see it that way. I do think. How can I say this? Well, I said this last week. I'll just say it again. I do think there are certain, if you just took a poll, I think it would be a really good race. If you took a poll of the coaches, if you took a poll of the players, I do think it would be, a large chunk on one side and another chunk on the other side. I'll just leave it at that. I think perception can be reality, because the more vocal guy which Coach Gino obviously said with CJ, can appear a certain way on the practice field, can appear a certain way even to those within the program. He can appear like the leader, like the guy, because of his personality. But when you really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, is he the guy? Because I don't care if you're loud or quiet. Can you win games? Andrew Luck was a very quiet leader. But doggone it, if he didn't win games. So Trevor Lawrence was quiet. He won games. Tua was a quiet leader. He won games. Then you have guys like Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel, Joe Burrow, vocal leaders, win games. So it comes down to who's going to show that they can win games in big moments and make those special plays without turning the ball over. And once again, you know, for those of us that are taking big picture views from one practice, that's why I left that. I mean, I know you're Lestradamus. Your record is pretty impeccable on this podcast with your predictions. But I'm going to I'm going to withhold any predictions at this time.
But they're literally telling you, they're like, listen, none of them is head and shoulders above the other. And if I'm Marcus Freeman, I'm hoping throughout the body of camp, like Gino Gaduli says, that one somehow gets to a confident, a distinguishable place where it's clear cut. Because they're both similarly talented. They both are liked for different things. It's just one of those things. You got two guys that can do it. This is about a choice. This is why I say they're going to play it out until it becomes to the point where they have to just choose a starter for the next week, because it's a either or. It's not better or worse. So when it's either or, what is Marcus Freeman and Gino Gaduli going to pick? Because they just keep telling you one's better here, one's good here. They're both, no one's better
But
than
you
the
see, that's the issue. To say that today, when I rock with Marcus Freeman.
Saying it today is fine, but I don't think
Marcus Freeman said these guys are going to decide who the quarterback is. You don't know. Somebody could have back-to-back bad days. That's the race. If either one of these quarterbacks has back-to-back bad days, that's the race.
But unfortunately, that's not a good way of doing it, only because neither one of them has played in a real game.
But unfortunately, in a camp setting,
if you're
all
going,
it takes is the smallest thing.
Right.
That's
what I'm saying. And that smallest thing, I don't think CJ is going to take in camp, because it's going to be at the end of the day, well, they're both good in different ways. So it's a choice. If we're going with Kenny or if we're going with CJ, either one of them, we have to be able to put in that position to succeed for the team, because then it becomes about strategy to win the game, which is not relying on the quarterback doing everything. Either one, Kenny and CJ, Denmark's not going to the game plan being like, oh, we have to throw for 400 to win this game. Absolutely not. He's like, dude, we got running backs, we got screens, we got tight ends, we don't have to press them to do anything. So this is just about who can maintain. Now, to say, oh, in camp they had 2 bad days and that's why, I just think that's devastating to the point where they're only making that distinction because they have to choose somebody, instead of just making the choice based on it just being, we're just going to go with this guy because that's what we want to choose. When you say things like, oh, you had 2 bad days, it's subjective, because at the end of the day, their talents aren't one older than Faith Hall. Like, you're just saying this is.
We're going to see. who handles this the best. We're going to see. We're going to see. The issue for me is, will there be transparency and honesty in of what's taking place?
Is quote unquote ready at that moment to go, but I don't think that strategy is going to prove true through the first 3 or 4 games, because we know for a fact either one that starts, that second game is going to be struggle. So it's like, well, they're going to, I'm not going to say struggle where they just so bad, but they're going to have to.
You will be on film for the first time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They're going to be learning on the fly. So because 2 of them have never played, learning on the fly is going to happen. That's different than what you're going to see in camp, which is why I say they're both going to be playing in the game, because Denbrock's just going to be like, well, through camp, they both earn the right to play. That's what the whole joke is. Marcus Freeman is going to get like, oh, this guy, and they both earn the right to play, but we just going with Kenny right now. That's just going to be the final statement. But then in the game, Kenny's going to play well, and because I think we're going to beat most of these teams, especially Miami in the beginning, CJ's going to find his way in there at some point. They're both going to play. Because the season is, like we talked about yesterday, a little Charmin. It's 2-ply, not 1-ply. They got the extra soft they had a couple bears laying on them and it didn't break through. You know, they pretty soft. It's not going to be pressed to pick one guy to just ride it out. That's why I think Marcus Freeman is playing it like, well, you know, we're going to be so good, they're both going to get in. So it doesn't really matter who's going to start. We're just going to hype this, who's going to lead the tunnel, essentially. But I think when it comes to that regard, play Kenny. Play Kenny. Because it's more pressure to play CJ over Kenny, because then you're trying to say what? What are you trying to say? Because now you're making a bigger statement by playing CJ over Kenny when they both haven't played. And then you're wondering, well, we thought Kenny was on the cusp. What happened? What are you saying by playing CJ over Kenny? I don't think you're making a big statement by playing Kenny first game. I don't think that's making a huge statement or down in CJ, or I just think that's just what was to be expected of a guy that you're recruiting. Think about it. Kenny's story is, I called up to Notre Dame. What are we talking about? This wasn't no glamorous recruiting story. He literally called there and said, hey, y'all need a quarterback. I want to play up there. What's up? I'm expecting a guy that do that that's going to start this year. And that's not discrediting CJ. That's just how I just think the flow should work. Now, because CJ has earned the right, clearly everybody respects this man, his play, the way he plays. They think he's talented. He got the extra boost from the narratives. There's no way he's not going to play. But him not running out there first is inconsequential, just like Arch and Quinn Ewers. They were like, they conceded the fact that Quinn's going to start. He's the guy, whatever. But they never got upset because they knew Arch was going to play. Regardless of whatever Quinn did, Arch was going to play. Now, it worked out sometimes because Quinn got injured sometimes or whatever, but Arch was going to play. This is the same situation. We're in college football 2025. Not playing CJ at all this year would result in CJ leaving. Not playing Kenny at all this year will result in Kenny leaving. That's just where we are. So Marcus Freeman's going to play the long term and play both of them in an easy schedule, get as much on both of them, and then playoffs. That's where I believe Marcus Freeman should make a real decision. I think we have the luxury of a full season to figure out who the starter is by playing both of them throughout the year.
All right. Both quarterbacks met with the media right here, Lucky Lefty Podcast, Believe Network in partnership with FanDuel. CJ CARR met with the media and talked about what he learned or what he has learned so far.
I think the biggest thing I've learned from Sam and Riley, especially, I was around him a lot more than I was Sam, is just the way he carries himself, the way he leads, the way he treats his teammates is second to none. I haven't been around so many people that are just that invested in the team, and so I kind of hope to continue to take that into this next season.
What's kind of been the most challenging part of this entire process for you?
As in just
Kind
ball?
of the quarterback battle, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's every day continuing to try and focus on it's you versus you. It's not me versus Kenny versus me. Just kind of trying to get better every day and not focus on the things you can't control.
How do you feel about a 2-quarterback setup?
That's not really up to me. It's whatever the coaches come to think is the best way for the team to win.
CJ, what are your strengths as you see them right now, and where are you trying to grow?
I think one of my strengths is just understanding where to go with the ball and what the defense is doing. I think I've grown a lot with that since my first year here. I think another strength is just the relationships I have with my teammates. I think those are the guys that the quarterbacks and the coaches get all the glory, but it's really the line and the receivers who are out there making all the plays. So just giving the credit to those guys.
White Sox up 1-0, just so you know.
I told you, take him for upset. CJ CARR is CJ's biggest strength and what he harps on is all intangibles, all respect, all giving kudos to his teammates, because what's the biggest thing people say about CJ is that they like playing with the kid. What are you doing recruiting? He's recruiting all his teammates. That's his greatest strength. Recruiting really good talent to play with, because that makes him look better. Not that he is not good individually, but he knows where his ceiling is. He's got all the mechanics. He's got all the technical ability. He looks good. He's prototypical. So he never speaks to it. He only speaks to being a good teammate, because he knows that being a good teammate is going to make him be undisputed. It's an undisputed, favorable, likable guy on the team. So it puts Kenny at a space where it's like, dang, they're going to ask me about, I'm going to be talking about my skills. I'm going to be talking about how I can run and do this and that. He just keeps boosting the teammates, so it's just a likable. It's like he's very CJ smart because he knows. CJ know he ain't got to do too much. He's like, look, I'm going to do what I'm good at. They're going to boost me anyway. I'm going to just be loving on my teammates, because that support is just going to put me in that spot where, shoot, I can be dishing it out. I mean, he's gonna have a great career at Notre Dame. His biggest evaluation is what can he do in the playoffs? Can he play? Can he beat the Georgias and the Ohio States? And because he's gonna do everything. The Syracuses and the Virginias, he's gonna come on. He might have 400 yards with Cam Robinson and all those boys.
Yeah, well, he also was asked about how he's gotten better. And I thought his answer here, I thought it was a really good answer. I love it. Man, he is well trained when it comes to the media. Well trained. How have you improved, CJ CARR? What's better about your game? This is what he had to say, Lefty.
I just think just wanting to be great and wanting to win here and wanting to win this battle and then beat Miami is the main things that drive me.
CJ, let's talk about that battle mentally. Last year you were learning, now you're back in the starter mentality. What are you bringing from that starting mentality? What have you learned here that will help you in your mental process?
Yeah, I don't think the mentality has changed at all. I think it's more of continuing to learn. Like, yes, last year I was a learner, I guess you could say, and this year I kind of want to be the same thing, just continue to get better every day and come in here with energy, high energy, and just continue to work on my craft.
And what part of your game has improved the most?
I'd say, like I said before, just the understanding where to put the ball and then continuing to work situationally. What do we want to do with the football? We're doing a lot of 2-minute drills out there, and I think those have been really helpful with just, what's the situation? What's the down and distance? Do we need 7? Do we need 3? What's the time? How many timeouts do we have, situationally?
His whole life has been built to this moment. I mean, these answers is in his blood, because his whole life has been built to be a quarterback in this situation. Like, I mean, it's like nothing he says is gonna go wrong. It's like, man, that's sweetest words I can hear. He knows what to say. He knows how to go about it. He's got the playbook at home on how to take over a team. That's really what it is. Because I mean, that's just his family legacy. I mean, he knows what it means to be a quarterback. That's the essence of C. That's what makes it so awesome. He's just a quarterback, dude. That's what he is on LinkedIn. It just says quarterback. That's his whole persona. He's gonna say the right things. He's everything that all the motivational things talk about the quarterback. He's doing all of that. It's just so that's gonna be hard to beat from a perception standpoint. Like how can you not love this kid? So mature, great answers that somebody done told you that, but you done heard it a couple of times. But that's just like the kids that have two doctors as parents. They just know the jargon. They just, I know about the scalpel and all that, the hypothalamus and all. They just know the stuff because their parents are doctors. It's just like, now the kid that ain't come from that done had to work hard and be the first gen, and it's just you don't know what you don't know. CJ is almost have been there before without being there. He knows the steps of where to take it and how to do, and that's a powerful thing. When you know where you're going and how to do it, and you've seen it and heard how to, it's a powerful thing because it's like you know the answers. Kenny's like, shoot, I got talent, man. Like, let me just go out here and do my thing. Like, what? So different philosophies, but it's hard to ever say anything critical of CJ until you look at the tape. You can only really evaluate because he's gonna say all the right things, do all the right things. He's gonna be likable. He's gonna answer all the questions politically, which is great. That's Notre Dame's future face. Like, that's what you want. So it's just got what you're looking for with this guy.
So that's CJ Carr, Lucky Lefty podcast, and his comments with the media. Now we go to his competitor in this quarterback competition. And I just want him to do the number 8 proud. You know what I mean? I want him to do the number 8 proud. There's a reason he wears number 8, and it's connected to you, Left. I just want him to do the number proud.
I just want to do the number proud, man. I'm really happy, man. It's like, can you beat a trust fund baby? Like, okay, so let's say you get rich, right? You get rich, first gen rich. But when you come up to like real money, people that have been rich for doing it for a minute, are you really rich at that point? It's like, okay. It's like you trust fund babies think of money differently than the kid that just got rich. When you're a trust fund baby, the money just like, it's all good. But when you're not a trust fund baby, you got rich off of the hard work on the first gen, figured it out, got the formula. It's just levels, man. It's just, how deep is your bag? How deep is your... I'm excited for both of them, man. I honestly am. I don't know what happened to SD, but hey, I think that both are very qualified to be put in a really good position to blow up, man. We need a quarterback to be the face of college football. We need a quarterback to be in New York, sitting in that Heisman room, sitting in that green room for the draft. That's where the program is currently. Marcus Freeman has built it back up, man. You just got to put the icing on the cake with your featured quarterback and all the fixings. Because what's Thanksgiving without a big turkey? You know what I'm saying? The fried turkey that's what makes Thanksgiving, because all the sides, as great as they may be, just make it dinner. But the turkey makes it Thanksgiving. And that's what we're trying to have this year. We're trying to have Thanksgiving. And the only way you can have Thanksgiving outside of just a good family dinner is that turkey. That quarterback is the turkey. We had a great family gathering, game night, right? Where everybody, you got themed out game nights where everybody bring a dish and a potluck celebration is fantastic. But it's not Thanksgiving. It hasn't been it's been fun. It's been fun. I mean, we even had rave reviews and the side dishes have been good, but it hasn't been a Thanksgiving. Why? Because we haven't had that turkey. But I think that's what we can get to. I really do think that's what we can get to. I'm excited for both these young guys. Like I said, CJ's gonna just say all the right things. You just can't not love what CJ brings as a quarterback position. When you think of the room, you think of the professionalism of a quarterback, and CJ just has it. He's like, okay, you can feel good that we got somebody that knows what they're doing in the room. This isn't the first time. This ain't the first timers club. It's like somebody's been here without being here. So any coach can get behind that. And I think that's why CJ makes it hard for him not to be thought of as a starter, because he's just a coach's perfect example of embodying what a quarterback means to a team outside of just throwing the football. So I got this great ice cream, by the way. Anyway, I don't know what happened to SD. You got to get him back on. But more importantly, I would love to see that 8 just be treated great. I think Kenny is put the work in. I think he's really given the process a true effort. He didn't quit. He didn't take a wrong turn necessarily. He actually waited his turn, but also developed in that moment where I think he's ready for this moment. And I think that even though it may not be shown thoroughly through practice every day, but I think his development will produce a bigger product as he's learning on the fly in real games. So that's why I think the difference truly lies between the two, is that you'll just get more out of the orange as an individual player with Kenny than CJ, both going through the same learning as they go experience. Because I think CJ's really good, but I just think at CJ's max best, let's say it's a 95, everything goes right, he's on fire, his max product is a 95. I just believe personally that Kenny's best max, it's like a 97. Like that two little difference can mean a lot in the game. And I think that Kenny has that mysticism, that extra gear, that tricks under his sleeve, so to speak, last hurrah play that he can give in a game that could be that edge that we need in a national championship situation, or have you speak. But I do believe CJ is very capable of taking his team as far as he wants to go. I just envision his biggest critique being in the biggest games of his career, what was his product and production like? So, but I think, like I said, Kenny's best max, best day ever, let's just say it's a 97. And I think CJ on his best max day ever is a 95. So that's both great. But I think that 2% that Kenny has over CJ will be a difference in a game in which we needed it, right? That's just extra.
All right. Before we get out of here, let's get to Kenny Minchey. You were just talking about him, and tough first day, up and down, and he was talking about his strengths.
Yeah, I'd say as far as like years passed since then, I definitely feel more comfortable, and I would say more in control and just like closer with the guys on the team.
And then from the outside, you kind of touched on it. It looks like you guys have healthy relationships within the room. What kind of allows for you guys to have that?
I would say just like, I mean, you kind of see it, Notre Dame as a whole, like everyone in the locker room is close-knit. Notre Dame only recruits the kind of guys that can come here. So I feel like, just like with the coaches bringing the right guys in, it's easy to click with them. I mean, we're all friends with each other. It's like no harm, no foul. We're just, boys just kind of growing up together.
What do you feel your individual strengths are in the quarterback position?
I would say my accuracy, playmaking.
All right, let me try and get through this left so we can get out of here. He also talked about his goals. What are his goals in this fall camp?
In the fall camp, I say my main goal is to just come in and try and be in as fit as I can, and pretty much like replicate what I did in the spring and better. And like with the whole world watching, I'm not really focused on too much outside noise, but what I am focused on is trying to be as efficient as I can be and play good football.
What do you think are your strengths as a quarterback, and what are the things that might set you apart?
I would say my accuracy. I feel like I can put the ball where it needs to go. Most of the time, my decision making. Still working on that, and being able to extend plays. I feel like that's a plus as well.
Something that Coach Freeman mentioned yesterday was he was impressed by him and didn't go the way he thought it would. Like, how do you bounce back that quickly, and how do you kind of keep focused on improving?
I feel like it has part to do with just like my.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly ready for the moment. He knows the ups and downs of the position where he can kind of stay even keel as a mentality. And he's just eager. Yeah, reload. I've been sitting 2 years. I need to get that play again. I need to get that muscle memory in. Easy way to steal an extra couple reps. Very smart, very smart. So, like I said, it's about comfortability, and both these guys have talked about it. How comfortable can you get with the offense? And that only comes through having the reps that they are taking more than they were last year. And as long as they get that feel, Kenny mentioned it, he's starting to get that feel in. Yeah, because you're getting the first team reps finally. I mean, hell, everything else feels pretend. That's the funniest thing about the whole process. It feels good till you get to the real thing and then realize, man, this is what it really feels like. Now I actually feel like I'm getting better. All that other stuff I was convincing myself I was getting better. But then when I stepped in that fire and saw, oh, this is what I actually have to do to get better, that's the best form of way of getting you confidence.
Yeah, Kenny Minchey also got a chance to talk about his emotions and handling the emotions of the moment. This is what he had to say. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely a little bit easier. Just from the past 2 years, having like 2 transfer quarterbacks come in, where there's a little bit quarterback situation in like as far as leading, but with this year, obviously, the coaches and the players are expecting me to step into that leadership role, which I feel like I've done a pretty good job of, but also a ways to go. So that's probably the difference.
You're always preparing as a quarterback for your opportunity, but what's the difference pressure-wise when you're out there in a practice where you know every rep truly can determine your future versus in the past where you still knew you were number 3 or 4 on the depth chart?
Yeah, in the past, I mean, I would have said the same thing I said now, just preparing like I am going to be the starter, because when Sam here, I remember he was telling me a story, like when he played super early in his career, it's like you never know how it's going to go as far as college football, transfer portal, but also injuries. Like injuries happen every single day, so if you're a 3 or 4 and you're not preparing like you're the starter, I mean, you got something wrong. Okay. But with now, I mean, with this like quarterback competition or whatever, I feel like I treat it the exact same. I'm still trying to go out and make the best of every play, not try to do too much, and just try and play my game. So,
Is there an uptick in emotion or pressure that you have to try to, properly tone down to be able to do that?
I would say no, because I just feel like I've been preparing for this my entire life. So if I were to get nervous now, I mean. for. So if I were to get nervous now, I mean, this is what I asked for. So can't get too mad about what's on my plate.
This is what he asked for.
Why they trying to try my dog Kenny like he ain't ready or something? What kind of questions is these? Like he ain't. What's your emotions like? What you mean emotions? What are they trying to imply?
They trying to try your dog. They trying to
try him a little bit. I'm like, what's up with these questions? What they trying to say? They acting like he coming into something he ain't ready for. And I don't think that's the case. I think he's very ready for it. He's probably more, if anything, look more pissed off that he took this long to get there.
He looked real comfortable.
Like your boy in Chicago. What'd he say? Your boy in Chicago say? He said, man, I was mad. They ain't had me starting earlier. Man, Spencer, who? I was walking in day one. Lincoln Riley tried this. I had to wait. You know, that's how Kenny probably feeling. He should have played me earlier. But
I'm reading body language. I'm gonna be honest. I'm reading his body language. He looked like he had a pretty good day. He had a good sweat to him.
You heard what he said? What he say? He said, "Yeah, you know, I'm gonna play my game." I mean, I guess I'm in this quarterback competition.
I did.
Whatever.
I did catch that.
He said, "I ain't worried about."
I did catch that. Okay, Left. I wasn't the only one that heard that. I didn't want to play too much into it.
It's like he had to mention it because they talking about it, but he ain't thinking about it. I tell you that. He said, "Yeah, I'm in this quarterback competition or whatever." Like, I mean, that's what y'all call it. I'm over here focusing on my game, and that's what I like to hear. You know, because he's just sitting at a place. I'm sure he's sitting at a place where he's like, "This kid just got here. He don't know what it's like to go through sitting through these transfers." Getting dismissed, disrespected, and this is all stuff he telling himself in his mind, you know. It's just the process of it. But he's like, this is my time to shine. He said, I got accuracy, I got what you need. He says, I don't have to do too much, which tells me he understands where he's at. His feet are on land. He's in the present moment. He's like, look, I ain't got to be a superstar because did you see what we got? I like his mentality already. So, like I said, both guys, it's just about what do you see the vision as? Because either way, you cannot lose. They're both going to be unique journeys, but different. I don't think they can coexist. This is like a fork in the road. Do you go to the left path or the right path? I don't think there's a down the middle, even though they're going to try to play it that way. Because they're two totally different guys taking a step back. It's just like, do you want the next Brady Quinn route? Or do you want this package over here that the right things fall in place? You might land yourself somewhere you haven't been since 88.
Yeah. Super chat for my guy Truman DeMille. As we get out of here, Left. There's something about MINCHEY DNA, that straight junkyard dog. He's ready to be a young lion. Thank you.
Think about it. He went through the process of disrespect. Marcus Freeman sitting there talking about, yeah, we're going to bring a guy in. I'm like, dang, the season ain't even over yet. He ain't even got to see me in bowl practice. Yeah. Kenny's ready. Marcus Freeman going to have to understand.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Practice tomorrow. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to get up and make the drive.
Not for no 4 periods. You're going to see stretch, tempo, team water down.
If not, I'll be back twice next week for both practices, but I'm still thinking about it. I'm keeping it a buck. I'm being about as honest and transparent as I can.
Send that drone out there.
You know what I mean?
Send the drone.
You know, that's 3.5 hours of my day for four periods.
4 periods? Right? Son, don't fool yourself, because you know Marcus Freeman ain't gonna slide you the good deal down. He ain't gonna let you hang around a couple more periods because it's all camp. You gotta take it serious. In the spring, yeah, I'll take the trip. They let you hang out. You might get to call a couple plays or something. Now they're gonna be like 4 rounds. Matter of fact, get off the campus. Y'all can't be on the get off the property. It's done. It's
hey, for Left SD2 Mike's White Sox up 2-zip for you, bro. right here, Lucky Lefty Podcast. As always, have a great weekend. Continue to make sure you spend it different.